The Netherlands is starving its animals. You want to know why? Keep on watching. And welcome back to another show. Thank you very much for being here. We love you. We love that you keep coming back, and also the subscribers they keep on growing. So please, if you enjoy the show, please subscribe and give us a like and give us a comment because we want to keep growing just so that we can form a community out there, and we want you to be a part of it. So thanks for being here, and we'll get into the show today. And so we'll start off by the newest segment of our show, the community comments. Yeah, community comments. So let's see what we got first. So our first comment that we have, it's from Tom van der Ham 1416, and he writes us a comment in Dutch. So I took the liberty to just Google translate it. So we'll end up with this. And he says, good documentary video. There's few enough solutions for recycling old tires. And he sent me a whole bunch of links, and I think they're really interesting. So he got inspired after our latest episode about earth structures and plastics, and so he went around and he did some research, and he wanted to share it with you. And so he found out what else you can do with tires. And so, for instance, you can make roads out of them. I didn't know this, but apparently you can if you stack them up with gravel and like put asphalt over it. It's supposed to be even a better structural way to make a road. So yeah, that's interesting. You can make roofing out of it. So there's this company in Calgary in Canada, and they're called EuroShield Roofing, and they make roofing tiles out of old tires, granulate. And then there's also this Russian guy who has made fuel out of tires. So basically, he basically works like a wood gasifier, except he does it out of tires. I'm not quite sure about the environmental impact about that, but it's good research, and we wanted to show it to you. So yeah, we think all of this information is good information. So if you got inspired by one of our episodes, then please put something down below in the comments, and we definitely read everything, and maybe I'll put you up in the comment section. For instance, someone else who also gave us a comment. Her name is Jenna van Damme, and she posted, by the way, for all the women who read this, did you know that there's also plastic in your nylon underwear? Yeah, that's very correct, because nylon is plastic. So, and your vagina is a very absorbent body part. Now, that's very good to know. This is how microplastics get into your womb and your vagina. Please wear organic underwear and use organic tampons and non-plastic toys. Well, I think it's very good information to know, especially if you have no idea. If you have no idea and you're just putting that on there, and you might be thinking, well, that's a perfectly healthy way to do it. Well, just remember that plastics dissolve whenever there's heat and whenever there's moisture. So yeah. I think it's a fairly good comment. So yeah, if you also have a comment, if something comes to mind to you, please, we support you in putting something down in the comment section, and we read everything. So even if YouTube deletes it, you might just make it to the screen. So This episode, yeah, we're gonna take a look in our immediate surroundings, and for you that might have been a little bit of a mystery where I'm at. But today I'm gonna give you a little hint. So first of all, I'm in Europe. So let's have a look at the map of Europe. This is where I'm at. Somewhere around here. Now, if you look at the map of Europe, one of the most interesting things that there is in Europe is that there's a lot of mountains and there's a lot of rivers. Now, people don't usually think about this when they come to Europe because it's very cultivated. It's very sectioned off because every country has their own little thing, and like if you're in one country, you just think of that one country, and we don't tend to think of Europe as a continent. And if we do start to think of Europe as a continent, all of a sudden we get to see that there's mountains and there's rivers and there's a flow of this just the natural system. And so we have in the middle we have, let's see how I can put my finger about right there. There's the Alps, and the Alps are very important, especially for the piece of land that's above it. Why? Because that is one of the most important river deltas that we have in Europe, and where the river deltas end up is the country where I live, which is the Netherlands. So you can see Belgium and the Netherlands right there on this map, and you see basically the four rivers that are the main massive amount of that give the biggest amount of water to the delta that is the Netherlands. And so you have the yellow part, which is the Rhine, which is the biggest one. You have the green part, which is the Maas or the Meuse, which is called. They have in Belgium is very important, is the Schelde, this is the Scheldt. And then on the top part, the purple part, that's the Eems or the Ems, it's also called. Those are all very important, and they have been important for a while. I think the studio's almost about to fall down. Let's see, I think we're about to have some extra light in here. Oh, we'll see what happens. Anyway, yeah, the river delta. One of the reasons why the Netherlands is called the Netherlands is because we're in the nether regions. That actually means that we're the lowlands, which is also what the section is where the Netherlands is laying is also being called, or also called the lowlands. It's not because we're in the nether for your Minecraft geeks out there. No, it's because we're actually very close to the sea level, and that has given the Dutch some opportunities which they have well incorporated. For instance, we have all of our iconic cities have been based upon those waterways. So when you go to the Netherlands and you visit them, and there's lots of beautiful cities to see, and they're all based around the water system because people used to use them as highways. Yeah, the waterways were very important. We had a big sea trade, but there's also the windmills. They're not made for making bread, which is what they're used for for instance, in countries like Spain and such. The windmills in the Netherlands were mostly used as a mill to pump out the water. That's because we basically, in some parts, we live in a swamp. And that's not only because we have the rivers, but it's also because we have the sea. And that makes that if you pump out the water and you stick with all the silt and you stick with all the clay that's left there, and you leave all of the water out, you constantly have to pump it out, and you put up dikes so the water can't get back in, you get very fertile land, and that's very beneficial. But you have to keep the water out, which is why we built something like this, which is the Delta Verka. You might think, well, isn't that a little bit overkill? Well, no, it's not. It's definitely needed because yeah, we had some massive flooding and happening in the for instance the 1960s. It was well, there's definitely some images that you can Google out there, but yeah, it's very important that we keep the water out. Um, Except there's one big side effect that happens, and that's basically if you pump out all the water and you regulate all the water, what happens is that your land, which is basically based upon a swamp, it dries out, and that means that if your waterways are so efficient, that means your land is sinking. And so the Netherlands is sinking in itself. So the more as time continues, the more the Netherlands is going down. And yeah, it's this is the reason why we have to maintain our dikes, which is an important part of this country. Now, let me see here. Yeah, let's look at the population density, because it's such a fertile area, and because it's such well, it's a good standard of living, and but also because we have basically all of our nature, we have cultivated it. There's very little wild areas in the Netherlands. Every square centimeter has been has is owned by someone. It's on paper. It's taken care of in some way or another. And yeah, it's imagine a piece of paper, and you just draw little sections on it, and every section has an owner, and every owner is mandated to maintain the land in some way or form. For instance, if you have a piece of land, then it's and there's a waterway nearby, or a ditch, or a stream or something, then it's your responsibility to clean out those ditches, and to make sure that the water can efficiently flow through everything, and that there's no grow of excess foliage. So that brings us to the second thing, which is the land usage. If you look at this map, all of this is a little bit of the Netherlands, of how we maintain the land. And if you look at it, it's mostly light green, and light green means agriculture. We are a heavily agricultured land. There's a lot of agriculture in this land. There's a lot of farming. There's a lot of maintaining, and especially in these parts where I'm at right now, which I will not tell you about right now, but these areas I will show you later. There's a lot of land, and when people from the city, they come here and they think like, oh, it's so open, it's so free, there's so much nature. Well, perhaps there's not as much nature as you think it is, because there's actually it's a lot of monoculture of a lot of grass, and the grass is to promote the milk industry, which is maintained by cows. So you could also look at it as it's a light form of industry, like it's a small factory, which is what I think is a proper way of looking at the land. Now, definitely, it's to say it's a form of industry that harmonizes with the nature, and definitely our farmers are investing and thinking about how to deal with our nature and our ecology and all of that. And when I talk about starving our animals, we shouldn't look towards our farmers. Our farmers are not starving our animals. That's a whole different story. But first, before we get into that, let me take you to our sponsor. And our sponsor of today is, of course, it's Organica CBD. It's our main sponsor, and we enjoy them very much as a sponsor. They're a great company and they have fantastic products. So it's I hope you've taken a look at it. Their quality is definitely very good. I've gotten some questions the other day about what is CBD exactly? Like, is it something that will get me high? And no, the CBD oil is not something that will get you high. The CBD part in the hemp plant or the marijuana plant or it can be extracted from the hemp plant, which is not used for recreation. It helps with some medicinal properties. So if you have trouble sleeping or you have any rheumatic or arthritis problems, it's anti-inflammatory. So definitely take a look at it because it might better your health. And if you're worried about getting intoxicated, that's not what's going to happen with just the products from organic-cbd.com. So go over there and have a look at it. And if you enter the code Paradigm Shift, you get a 5% discount. So make sure that you let them know who sent you, and we'll make sure you get that quality prime have you get a good order for your buck. It's definitely it's good quality. So and also, if you're worried about legality, everything that you buy from this website, organiccbd.com, it's definitely legal. It's 100% legal. There's legal shipping. It's just a medicine. It's a medicine to get you healthy, to get you better. And if you have any issues, of course, always ask your doctor if it's good to combine with any existing medication that you have. But I definitely recommend it. So go over there and enter the code Paradigm Shift, and you get that 5% discount. You're not only helping yourself, you're not only helping the company, but you're also helping the show. So it's a 3-double win. All right, let's get back to our regular programming. All right, let's continue with our regular programming. So now that I've told you a little bit about the Netherlands, so let's have a deeper look, and let's look at some beautiful pictures. So, shall we? Yeah, it's amazing what good cameras and wildlife and good production quality can give you. It looks very looks very nice. So if you want to watch the documentary, I'm sure you can find it. However, this documentary is called The New Wilderness. Now, why is it called The New Wilderness? Well, because the Netherlands, it's basically a created country. The majority of it, I think like 30% of it, or maybe even more, we pumped it out of the sea. We basically created land. So let's have a look at it. So if you look here, so this little area, this is where the park is, where you see right now. And so let me see if I can stop this for just a second. So this, you see that the little square. It's not really a square, but it's a province that it used to be like an inland sea, somewhat of an inland sea, and we put dams up and we pumped the water out, and that's where we I'm saying we, but it's basically my ancestors. This is not even my ancestors. It's the time the people who lived in the same time as my ancestors. Let's say it like that. What they did is they put a dike or a dam or in the water, and they pumped all the water out with big mills and industrial pumping, and yeah, we created more land to farm on and more land that we can build a city on, and in that land that we created, if we continue just a little bit further, you see this little area. This is the area where the documentary that you just saw the trailer for, where it was filmed, and it lies between two big cities, and it used to be a place that was kind of neglected, and a lot of water birds and a lot of wildlife would naturally gather there, and then there was a plan. There was a plan to buy up all the land that was next to it, and to implement like koningspaarden, which are like ancestral horses, and there's bovine, like heck bovine, which are basically they're the bovines that were created by the brothers Heck in the Second World War. They made actually, I think before the Second World War, there were two brothers who were Nazis, who were trying to bring back the old like the aurochs, the ancient type of cows, and then there's a whole bunch of deer that were also released. So, and it wasn't that many of them. Getting it penned down here, how much it was. So 57 deer, 32 bovine, and around 20 horses. Now, you might think, well, that's a good surface area. If they have this piece of land, that's a good area. Then so nobody really thought anything of it at the time, and but the only thing that there was this ideology, like we should not interfere with nature. Once humans interfere with nature, that's when things go wrong. So we should just leave it alone, and we put into the rules that nobody is allowed to touch the area. And this somewhat happened in the 1980s, and then it continued and continued and continued, and now we're in 2024. And basically what it looks like in winter is somewhat like this. Somewhat like this. Now, what you're seeing there, that's a cow, and it's chewing on a bone. Now, I don't know whenever you've seen a cow chewing on a bone, but that's not natural. That's not natural behavior. Usually, cows chew on grass. Well, there's not a lot of grass here. You see the deer? That's almost laying in mud. So what happened? Well, basically, all of the big grazers that they put in there, they ate so much of the grass that was out there, and I'm saying this wrong. They multiplied, and because of that, the way that they multiplied, and they became so, there's so many grazers out there. There's not enough grass to sustain them anymore, and so that's why they're having trouble. They're having trouble finding the right nutrition sources to sustain themselves, and that's basically why they are living parts in mud and in very low grass. It's where they almost tear down all the little shoots with the roots out and everything. And so this is actually what it ended up in. This is the same area as the beautiful documentary images that you just saw. So yeah, it's is not as nice if you look at it from the other perspective. So if you see from one paradigm and if you see it from another paradigm, it's quite a big difference. And so naturally people got upset. And so people were protesting. This is, I think, in 2018. There were a lot of people, and the protest got bigger and bigger. And they wanted to let them know, because people saw that, if you look at the animals carefully, and they have a big fur, but if you look at it and you see that there's almost no. That there's you can see the ribs basically, and so what they started doing is in the night they started feeding them. And so people with tractors and everything, they illegally fed these animals, which they're not allowed to do because humans are not allowed to interfere, right? And so what happened is park services, they came down and they just took the feeding away. And so you can see the cows here.
Dierenbeulen van Staatsbosbeheer. Hebben jullie die dieren uitgemergeld? Elke winter weer. Elke winter weer. Kijk eens hoe ze eruit zien.
Yeah, you can see the mud that they're walking in. It's not as pristine as we think it is. And it's interesting. That people think that this is the way that wildlife should be handled, because what you end up with is a few situations that are not common to the Netherlands. For instance, something like this. Now, before I show you this, I have to warn you a little bit that these images are a little bit graphic.
Shit, man.
They just shot the deer.
My god, my god, my god.
Klootzakken! Hij leeft nog! Klootzakken, kijk nou! Nee!
Yes. Why did they shoot the deer? Well, because the protest got so problematic, and why did they shoot the deer? Well, because basically, if the animals are starving, at the moment they're allowed to shoot them. And what happens if you're in a country where people have no guns, people have it's not common to have any training in shooting or handling a gun or whatever. If you get park forestry services and they're all of a sudden faced with doing something like this, they miss when they shoot. And that's just, I mean, any hunter or any person that goes out to fetch their own food from nature, they will have a heavy moral problem with anything of this. And the people who are watching this, first of all, you're doing it when people are watching. But second of all, if you miss and then you have to shoot again, that's a massive problem. So at some point you just have to wonder, like, are these people competent in any way to handle this? I mean, just look at how things are being done here. So what you see here, that's a dead animal. And there's a cart with more dead animals. And they get starved and they have to dump them. And it's, we're talking about hundreds of animals each year.
Nou, kijk, hier ligt er weer een. Een beestje kan al bijna niet meer lopen. Dan denk ik nog 1 of 2 dagen en dan is hij ook dood. Of hij krijgt de kogel, een van de twee. Brood en broodmager is hij. Hij loopt nu nog weg, maar hij zal zo wel weer gaan liggen.
Even later zien we hetzelfde hert verderop door zijn hoeven zakken. Zo het water in.
Is dat waar of niet? Dat was zo.
Now that's just awful. That's a very problematic. Yeah, it's we keep wanting to continue this. We somehow think that in this very small piece of land, on an this very small country, on an even smaller piece of land, that we can create something that resembles wildlife, but you just can't. You can't make wildlife with big grazers that have endless amounts to eat. And let's look a little bit at what the original idea was, because surely there must have been good intentions on it. So what you see here, this is some art from when it was just created. Now you can just see the ambition in this. So let's look at this. This is what you can see is you see big grazers, you see big animals, you see people having a wedding there. I think you can even see a tractor there that's on the edges of it. There's people eating inside. I don't know. They're probably not eating deer because maybe they're eating spare ribs. So yeah, it was very ambitious to begin with, and there's just a problem with the design concept of it, because we know how to do this by now. There's been people who've been studying nature, and we know how to create this. I mean, I understand that you want to create this, but we know how to design with nature. And so one of the main reasons, and we've talked about this before in the show, and we're going to come back to it more and more, one of the biggest rules is permaculture. So if we look at permaculture works in zones. Let me just switch to this one. Yeah, permaculture works in zones. And if we have zone 0, and zone 0 is where your human habitat is at, and we humans, we have a range. We mostly sit in the home, but we also go outside the home, and so our immediate ways where outside the home is in the direct vicinity of the home. And so that's basically that zone 1, and that's where you have your native herbs, and that's where you have all of your fruit trees and whatever. And then in zone 2, that's where you have orchard, bees, animals, chicken, maybe some pigs or whatever. This is basically what you would call the farm area. And then you have the part that you visit infrequently, and that's where you gather your firewood, and that's where you find some wildlife. And then zone 5 is the place where you just don't visit, and that's rarely visit, and that's where you observe nature. And that area, that's mostly meant because it has a function, and the function is for us, for nature to teach us, because if we don't know what we're doing, obviously we don't know what we're doing. I mean, if the Oostvaardersplassen, that nature area, if it's not the biggest example of that we don't know what we're doing, then I don't know. I mean, we should acknowledge that we don't know what we're doing, and then we can start to learn. And so, if we just look at this area, and so I have another picture of the concept or art of what it was originally. So you can basically see a triangle of 3 cities, and the 2 cities on the left, the area in between, that's the problematic part. That's the part where all the big grazers live. And all the big cities, the 2 big cities that you have there, that's a zone 1. And in the middle of it, that's a zone 5. And then and then they have made like a corridor. Now the corridor that's drawn here, it's a little bit bigger drawn than it actually is, because in reality it's just a very small strip with a straight line. Basically, it connects it to this other area, and then there's a waterway in between. And that's not a waterway like a river or something like that. No, that's a waterway meant for boats to go through. And if you know anything about the Netherlands, if you know anything about our canals, if you know anything about our dams, they're straight. It's a straight run-up. It's very clean. There's no ways to go down slowly. It's you have to look in the Netherlands for places like that. When I'm walking my dog, she wants to go swimming, I have to look for a place where she can get in and out, because everything is maintained. So, and it's not connected to anything. And so we have to realize that what we're doing here is we're gardening, and we're gardening with nature. And meanwhile, we have no idea what we're gardening in. So this is the last picture of what the idea was when they started this. And so it looks beautiful. It looks fantastic. And if you can create it, that's great. But there's one thing in this image, and it's very prominent, that's missing here, because the Netherlands basically has no natural predators. I mean, we didn't until not so long ago. And then we come to this, and that's basically you see you got the grass, and then you got the grazers, and then you got the predators. And if you don't have any predators, the grazers get too many. And if the grazers get too many, they eat all the grass. And if you don't have any grass, then everything dies. So it's another example of how of a misconception of design this is. And luckily, the design is the nature is gonna help us out, because not so long ago this happened. Now that's a wolf. That's not just one wolf, that's a family of wolves. And they're coming from Germany, because Germany does have natural predators, because Germany has actual areas where wildlife resides. And that wolf is trying to expand this area and is looking for new places to live. Now, you might be thinking that everybody in the Netherlands might be cheering. It's like, yeah, we got a wolf. Finally, this wildlife problem, we're gonna fix it. Well, the opposite happened. People are increasingly getting upset by this wolf being here, because this wolf is upsetting our garden area. This wolf is killing our sheep because we have no defenses against wolves. Or, the predator comes in the night, takes the sheep out of the land, takes it away, eats it, and then our farmers get upset. And now there's curious wolves everywhere in our natural areas, and people with children are afraid, and people on a bike are afraid. I mean, I don't believe that any wolf has attacked any human yet, but there's definitely with children there's a little issue. But also, I mean, we have to decide what we want here. I mean, you cannot have one thing or the other. You either live in a enclosed garden of Eden, or you live with wildlife and you know how to deal with wildlife. And I think that's our biggest problem. We have no idea how to deal with wildlife. Just look at it.
Niet zo bloemig gezichtje.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Wolf. I'm sorry you're getting a ticket. You're not allowed to walk off leash here. This is a residential area, so I don't know what that police officer is doing, but I think he wants to communicate with the wolf. So, yeah, it's I don't know. Let me know if something like this ever happened in your country, where just a police officer is trying to interact with wildlife. I would love to see the footage. Hell, we'll even show it on this show. So yeah, get me updated on that. Leave a comment. So yeah, I wanna get back to the original art. So because this image shows a good example of the problem, because where you saw this wolf walking around, it's the third city. It's the third city on the right here. You can see it has a little bit more wildlife, wilderness area, or not even wilderness area. It's like forested area in the surroundings, and that's where the wolf was walking on the streets. It's called Harderwijk, and so you can see if that wolf wants to go to the place where all the big grazers are. He needs to cross that waterway. Not only does he he either has to swim, which is it's a long swim, and it's he has to, once he gets in, he also needs to know that he gets out, and because he's not going to take the chance that he's going to drown, or he either has to cross a bridge that is heavily occupied by humans with cars and with bikes and with wolves don't tend to do that very often, and then he has to cross like multiple agricultural fields, and then he has to climb under the fence to get into the area of the big grazers, before he knows this is a place where I can actually live in peace, where people will leave me alone. That's a lot of human thinking for a wolf to do. Now, you might be thinking, well, why don't we help him a little bit? Right? Because currently there's provinces that are talking about shooting the wolf, because they don't want him in that area, because they think it's a hazard for people. So they're just gonna shoot the wolf that hasn't done anything wrong except live and look for a place to live. They're gonna shoot him. Well, at the same time, we might want to take a tranquilizer gun and just have him sedated and then transport him to the area. So and with that, I want to leave you on this last thought that I had is, whenever we might do that, it's probably that the people of our National Forestry Service are going to be so incompetent that they're going to shoot themselves with their own tranquilizer gun, and so the wolf is going to just look at that and be confused about what the hell of a strange country that he has come to. All right. thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this episode. It was a little bit of a different subject matter, but I enjoyed diving into it. Next week we'll be here again with a new topic. So if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment down below. Please share it with all your friends if you think this is an amazing story that should be told. And if you really want to support the channel, then please hit that subscribe button, because we can definitely we can use the new amount of subscribers. And if you also want to support us financially, because I want to make this my full-time thing, then also go visit our sponsor, because it's a great partner, and I love working with them. And also I wanna get higher up the YouTube rankings, so we can get some more advertising going. So please subscribe, and I hope to see you next week. So okay, see you. Ciao.